What is up YouTube, Jamie the Kid00 here, and today we're going to be talking about a deck that I've been having a lot of fun with, kind of on the back burner. Definitely got put to the side a little bit when the whole needle fiber thing started to happen to the format, but I thought I would redevelop the deck and bring it around for you guys. Now I'm going to lie, this deck is not my main priority in the metagame right now, and there are a few things in this that I'm experimenting with that I'll talk about as we go through. All that's going to do is give you an opportunity to really work on the deck and change it to whatever suits your preferences while you test it on, say, on your locals or online. So we're going to dive right into this. I will out myself and say it early because I remember to. This deck does play a needle fiber engine, and a lot of people will roll their eyes at that. The needle fiber engine can really be swapped out for, there are about 5 cards in the main deck that contribute to it. They can be taken out for literally anything. A lot of other deck variants just play hand traps. I preferred the advantage engine to give myself an extra negate on top of my traps, and also this deck is very reliant on you having 2-card combos, but it doesn't matter if that 2-card combo often happens after your normal summon, so all that needle fiber engine is there for is to give you more draws, but we'll kind of come around to that. So I'm going to move these out of the way and throw a card to the side by accident, and we'll get right into the deck. So we're going to start off with the Unchained monsters. So the first 3 we're going to be talking about will be Unchained Twins Arouca. So Arouca is kind of the most important one when you're wanting to start your combos, and this is the one you want to see every single time you can whenever you have a card on the field. To read you its effect, it reads, you can target 1 card you control, you then cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except fiend monsters, which the entire archetype is, and also destroy the targeted card, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand. Then its secondary effect reads, if this card on the field is destroyed by a card effect except by itself or a card with the same name as itself, or by battle, you can special summon 1 Unchained monster from your hand or deck. And almost every Unchained card you're going to see in the deck, and I say card, not monster, card, is going to have that same secondary effect, wherein it can special summon another Unchained monster from the deck. There are a few exceptions, but all the little ones, they're going to allow you to recur. So the reason why this is important is it's going to allow you to destroy 1 card on your field and special summon it to the board. But then also, if the card you're destroying is another Unchained with a similar effect, that's then going to trigger to special summon you more Unchained monsters. So you see where this is going. So 3 of the twins are Arouca, and it is twins, so we're going to couple it with the 3 copies of Unchained Twins Rakea. And Rakea is a little different, so they look very, very similar. This is just a water version of what is otherwise a fire monster over here, right? So Rakea reads, it doesn't have a special summon effect per se. When you have it on the field, it has a quick effect that allows you to target a card you control, destroy it. And for the rest of the turn, you cannot special summon monsters except fiend monsters. And then, if this card on the field is destroyed by a card effect except by itself, you can special summon an Unchained monster from your deck, and you can only use each of them once per turn. So what you're going to be doing is going to be using Arouca, destroying a card, special summoning itself. The other card will special summon one of these, and then this is going to be able to destroy this, allow this to use its effect to special summon, and you can go through the deck like that. So that's how they couple together, but you really want to see the red one before the blue one, but the blue one is still kind of fine, because you can just normal summon it, maybe set one of the Unchained spells and traps, blow it up that way, and you can do your combo from there. So these are pretty much integral to every combo opening, and that's why we play so many of them. And then a new release from the latest set was Unchained Twins Sarama. So Sarama is really, really cool. I really like its effect. So Sarama lets you target 1 Unchained card in your graveyard and accept a copy of itself. It then allows you to set it to your field, and it can be a monster or a spell trap. And then you destroy 1 card that you control. So it can, say, set a trap from your graveyard and then immediately blow it up, triggering the trap's destruction effect. It can set one of these. However, if it destroys itself, it's not going to be able to use its special summon from the deck effect. So what you'd normally be doing, as you can see the combo going through, you'd go red, summoning, destroying something, summoning blue, blue, destroy red, red, get, I call it purple, Sarama from the deck. And then Sarama can say blow up the blue, set a card or set the original trap you blew up, and go from there. So this is really, really cool in resetting a bit of your advantage. And this is a deck that really does rely on a few of its traps, so putting them back on the field is fantastic through that. And then we have the boss monsters. So we have the Abominable Unchained Soul. These soul cards are going to be the cards that we're using to make our link monsters and our boss monsters. So these are the ones that we summon from the deck at the end of the combo. So Abominable Unchained Soul is the first main deck boss, and he reads, you can only special summon one of these once per turn. If a card or cards you control is destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can special summon it from your hand. So it is much better than the next one we're going to get to, because this unclogs from the hand. And then if this card is special summoned, you can discard one card, destroy one card on the field. Once per turn during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was destroyed on the field and sent there this turn, you can special summon this card, but place it on the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field. So even if it's destroyed by your opponent or destroyed by one of your card effects, you can bring it back to the board. So he's really, really strong for that reason. It's one of the cards that we want to draw towards, because even if our opponent starts dismantling our board in their turn, this gives us a card that we can special summon to the field, discard a card, and interrupt one of your opponent's plays. So he's super cool for that. And then we have the original boss monster that released in the first set for this in Ignition, I forget what this actually stands for, Unchained Soul of Disaster. So Unchained Soul of Disaster is a great boss monster. It's got 0 attack points, but it's not going to stay around on the field for too long. So this is going to start our trend of Unchained's fantastic ability to absorb our opponent's link monsters and use them to make monsters of our own. So this guy reads, and I'm going to pick him up because I like getting the wording right for you. He gains 300 attack for each Unchained monster in your graveyard. It's not going to be that relevant until very, very late game. You can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, and immediately after this effect resolves, link summon one dark link monster using only this card you control and that opponent's monster as material. And then if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target an Unchained monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So this one, when it's destroyed, only gets them from the grave, not the deck. But the reason why we're summoning this is twofold. One, if we're going into a play where our opponent already has a link monster on the field, we're going to be using this to tag itself out and one of their monsters for one of our bigger Unchained monsters, or even some other dark link monsters that we'll get to in our extra deck. Otherwise, it is an Unchained Soul name, and you do need to use Unchained Soul monsters to make your link monsters. So it's another one that we want to special summon from the deck. Then this is the, we're now moving on to the component which makes up the needle fiber engine. That component is 3 copies of righty driver and 1 lefty driver. So I'm playing these because they are the best normal summon engine for the needle fiber system that I think I wanted to play. So this was the only reason why I played them. This deck doesn't care too much about its normal summon, so I just wanted to play this engine, and it's been working out in testing pretty well so far. And then we are playing the 1 Olion for that combo as well, and we will see if we can stick a combo video at the end of this just to walk you through some of that. Then for the hand traps, we play 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, and we are also playing 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, which I'll just pull out of the deck now, because it's basically a hand trap to stop our opponents going off. Because this is a deck that I've intentionally built to have a better going first play than a lot of variants of this, but going second, we still want to be able to stop our opponents, because we're playing a lot of traps, and traps are problematic going second. So moving on to the spells, we don't play very many in this deck because it just doesn't mandate it. So we're playing 2 Pots of Desires. This is what I call a fair deck. It's not a deck that generates a huge amount of advantage. Everything goes 1 for 1, unless it's your opponent's turn and you start taking things away from them. But Pot of Desires is entirely in here to give us that extra +1 that the deck really requires. We can't really play the pot that would banish from your extra deck, just because there's no way we can live without a lot of the extra deck options in this build. So Desires is just fantastic for that. And everything in our deck is a 3 of, apart from the needle fiber system. So when we play this, we're only playing this if we've figured out that there's no way of us getting towards our righty driver for the turn. So we just make use of that. And then we're playing 1 Wailing of the Unchained Souls. So Wailing is a card that I'm mainly just playing as a name, so we can set it and blow it up, because all Unchained spells and traps have the shared effect that if they're destroyed while set, you can special summon an Unchained monster from the deck. It does read that if you link summon an Unchained link monster, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. That's not hugely relevant, but it does occasionally come up depending on your board state. So remember, this is a card that we can set up off of Sarama, but otherwise it's mainly just a card that I'm setting to blow up to special summon monsters from the deck. Then for the search card, and of course it was going to be a secret rare, we play 3 copies of Abomination's Prison. So Abomination's Prison is our reinforcement of the army for the deck. You can just activate it and add 1 Unchained card, which is really powerful, any card in the archetype from your deck to your hand. And then if this set card is destroyed by a card effect, you can special summon 1 Unchained monster from your deck. Simple as that. So we're just going to be setting that down if we don't need to search, blowing it up and getting searches. The only other thing that's very relevant about this is it's Abomination's Prison. It doesn't actually have the word Unchained in its name, so it's the only spell and trap in the archetype that we play that can't be reset by Sarama, and that does come up. You will make that mistake in your first few times testing the deck if you're anything like me, so this is very important that you pay attention to that. And then we've got traps, and we're actually playing a lot of them, so for you guys who like traps, this deck might be for you. So we're starting off with the ones for the archetype, which is 2 copies of Escape of the Unchained. This is kind of the Icarus attack of the deck. You flip it up, you can target 1 Unchained monster you control and 1 card on the field. You can destroy them both. And then if this set card is destroyed by a card effect, you can special summon an Unchained monster from the deck, as guessed. And then we're playing 3 copies of Abominable Chamber of the Unchained. Now, Abominable Chamber is really cool. It's got a very simple text. Special summon 1 Unchained monster from your hand or your graveyard. And then, of course, if this set card is destroyed, special summon 1 from your deck. The reason why this is cool is in our extra deck, we're playing a lot of monsters that respond to having stuff special summoned to the board. And this only ever complements into that. Enough said, we'll get to that when we get to it. And then for the more generic traps, we are playing 3 copies of Torrential Tribute because all of our monsters benefit from being destroyed on the field. And hey, if we add more of them to the mix, like that's something we can do as well. So 3 copies of Torrential Tribute, and this is something that no one's ever playing around anymore, so I think this is quite a fun card to play. No one's making their precautions around this. There's not a lot of negations doing the rounds, are now monster based, so these are really, really cool to play. And it's such an old card. I miss playing Torrential back when it was at 2, so it's good to have it back in the deck. And then otherwise, we're playing 3 copies of Solemn Strike because I feel like it's still the best Solemn card, especially when it's going into an established board. So as a deck that's capable of going second, I liked this a lot. And then we're playing 1 copy of Imperial Order because we don't play very many spells, and it's much more powerful to lock out our opponent's spells because ours are still relevant if we set them and blow them up. So you can play this deck as non-spells if you want. So that's the main deck. It should be 40 cards on the nose. I don't feel the need to play any more, and you really want to open the combo every time you can. So let's dive into the extra deck, shall we? So starting off the extra deck, we do play 2 copies of Unchained Soul of Rage. So Unchained Soul of Rage is the card that we really want to end a lot of our combos on. It's really the most important for interrupting our opponent's plays. So with its text, it does require 2 monsters, one of which must be an Unchained Soul monster. So that means another one of the Link monsters or one of the level 8s that we play in the main deck. What you can do with it is during your opponent's main phase, you can target 1 special summoned monster that they control as a quick effect, and link using this monster and the monster they control to link summon a Dark Link monster. Now, we all know there are fantastic Dark Link monsters like the Topologic monsters and things like Nightmare Unicorn that you can summon in your opponent's turn to wreak massive interruptive damage, and that's why this card is so powerful, and we focus around getting it out every single opportunity that we can. Then this also shares all the other Unchained Soul effects from the main deck, in that if this card is destroyed by card effect or by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Unchained monster from your graveyard to your hand. So 2 of the blue Unchained Soul, and then we play 2 of the red. So Unchained Soul of Anguish is a Link 3 rather than a Link 2 like the previous one. Now with this guy, he's not a quick effect. You can target one of your opponent's monsters, regardless of special summoned or not, and then link summon 1 Dark Link monster using this monster and the other one, and then it also carries its destruction effect. So it's less impactful, but you want to ladder through them. Say you're Unchained Souling, you're using Rage for like the last thing your opponent's going to pass. You can Rage into the Anguish and take another monster. So really cool like that. And then we do play the 1 Unchained Abomination. So Unchained Abomination is kind of the end of your chain. You're making it with 2 or more monsters, including at least 1 Link monster. And he has 3 cool effects, and they all revolve around destruction. Surprise, surprise. So if a card or cards on the field is destroyed by a card effect except by the effect of Abomination, and it can of course except during the damage step, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. Also, if it's the end phase, you can activate this effect and destroy a card. And then finally, if a monster on the field is destroyed by battle, you can also target a card on the field and destroy it. So it's got 3 destruction effects all of which are cards on the field. So it can be used to trigger your own effects if you want to set up, say, bigger monsters using your smaller ones, or it can just be used to completely cleave through your opponent's board. So we'll move into the non-unchained monsters in the extra deck now, and like I said, some of these are, especially for the needle fiber combo, take up a lot of space, so you can easily change them out. So speaking of that combo, we are playing the one Linkross and the one Crystron needle fiber or Crystron Hull Kibrafax. These two, like I said, they're just a ludicrous advantage engine, and I'd be a fool not to try and use them at the moment. So they are in there for that express reason, and we'll get to the synchro component for that in a little bit. We play one copy of IP Masquerena because I make a couple of synchro monsters occasionally that aren't based around creating negates. They're there to give me draws. So I like IP Masquerena because it allows me to, say, make Unchained Souls of Rage in my opponent's turn, or make things that are even bigger. If you combine it together with the Chamber of the Abominable Chamber of the Unchained, you can summon a monster out with that and use IP to make a monster there. So I felt like she had some really cool interactions with the deck, and I've not seen that many people trying her out in here, so thought I'd throw her in. She's been giving me pretty good results so far, but you only set her up if you know you're going to have, say, the trap or monsters returning to the field. Then we play a few cards that are really good to make off of Unchained Soul of Rage. One of those being Nightmare Unicorn, another one of those being Topologic Trisbania, and we'll just throw the other Topologic monster out while we're here, which is Topologic Bomber Dragon. So both of those cards are here to interact with Abominable Chamber or the other destruction effects of all of my set cards. The fact that you can special summon a monster to your field quite readily in this deck during your opponent's turn is pretty mad. So you can take one of your opponent's monsters away, make a Trisbania, activate this, and then take away their back row. Or if they're a monster-oriented deck, say they give you a Link 2, you can just make this using Unchained Soul of Rage and your opponent's Link 2 monster. And then you chamber behind it, and you just blow up your opponent's board. So it's fantastic. Love those. And that's why we play them as just targets to make that card absolutely broken. And then for our OTK potential and our damage potential when we're wanting to push for game, like I said, this deck is very capable of going second. We are playing one copy of the newly released Access Code Talker. Then we round off the deck with 3 synchro monsters. 2 of these are completely experimental. Sorry, 2 of these are staple. 1 is a bit experimental. So we are playing the one Martial Metal Marcher, because of course that's absolutely abusive in the combo. 1 Herald of the Arclight because the negates it gives are ludicrous. And 1 copy of TG Hyper Librarian. Now the reason why I'm playing this is you have your play wherein you can make the Arclight using your Marcher. And the fact that you can also make a Hyper Librarian beforehand and then get the free draw when you make this can make all of the difference between you having your combo and not having your combo. And then if you miss, you can just link this away with the Linkross for certain things. But this is really a card that I'm experimenting with. Not sure if I like it that much at the moment. It could probably be something better. But you make calculated plays as to whether or not you want to summon this and go for the draw. But let me know what you guys think of it. I could be completely mad on this one. It's really a 15th slot, and the extra deck doesn't matter a huge amount, hence why you're able to just sandwich in the Hull Kibrafax combo. But that does bring me to about the end of the deck profile. I don't have a side deck for you guys. I don't tend to make those because they fall out of meta relevancy quite rapidly. But I would love to hear what you guys think of this list. Like I said, this was something that was on a bit of the back burner, so it's something I'm testing with, but it's definitely not the top of the meta. I really have a lot of fun with this when I do bring it out on Edo Pro, and I'm really hoping to be able to take it to a locals in the near future. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. I hope you've all enjoyed my little walkthrough of this deck, and if you were new to it, I hope I managed to explain it in a way that you understood. But yeah, let me know what you guys would like to see me profile, and then also let me know any tips and tricks and changes you'd love to see in the comments section down below. I hope you've all enjoyed. Give this a like, share with your friends if you think they benefit from it. I'll see you guys next time for some more Yu-Gi-Oh related content. Peace out. Bye bye.